Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. I know that the Patriots are bad, but I was still shocked to see them nearly lose to the Jets on Monday Night Perna. This is why I love the NFL, though. Two bad teams can come together and play a pretty damn good football game. The Patriots needed a last-second field goal to beat the lowly Jets. The Jets are so terrible that their best game this year may be almost beating the Patriots. 2020 football has been all over the place. I mean, nobody thought the Steelers would be the last undefeated team in the NFL this season. Every time we crown a team as the best in the NFC, they implode in horrific fashion. The Dolphins look like a legitimate playoff team, and certainly nobody would have thought we'd see Jameis Winston fist his mouth again. So today, like a drunk surgeon on his last patient, we will dissect Patriots Jets. I'll explain why the Patriots Dynasty is over, but maybe not for long. Damn it. And then run through some NFL news. Big Ben going on the COVID list, and me admitting I was wrong. Whew. That's good sports. This is what you look like when you spend the last 48 hours dedicated to making football videos for YouTube. If that kind of loyalty doesn't earn a sub, I don't know what will. Today's episode, though, is sponsored by Magic Spoon, my favorite cereal. Now, I used to eat a giant bowl of chocolate-flavored cereal every single morning for breakfast. But about 2.5 years ago, I decided to cut out as much unnecessary sugar and carbs from my daily eating routine as possible. Cereal was the first to go, and it left a giant void in my life, like a certain football team has done for the last 4 years. But then I found Magic Spoon, which contains 0 grams of sugar, 11 grams of protein to feed my tiny muscles, and just 3 net grams of carbs. And they have my delicious cocoa cereal, which I can now eat for breakfast guilt-free. My dad had to remove gluten from his diet recently, which is not easy, unless you have great replacement options like Magic Spoon. I got him the Magic Spoon Variety Pack, as it is gluten, soy, grain, and GMO free. So, if you're trying to cut junk from your diet, click my link below, magicspoon.com/thatsgood, and sample all of the flavors. And if you don't love Magic Spoon for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. Let me begin with a correction. What better way to start an episode than admitting I fucked up? On the best and worst episode, which I post every Monday, I said Travis Kelce was on pace for his 4th 1,000-yard season, which would be a record. I meant 5th straight 1,000-yard season. And the only other tight ends with 4 1,000-yard seasons total are Tony Gonzalez, Jason Witten, and Gronk. None of them did it consecutively. Here's what's really impressive, though, and I hate admitting this, but Kelce's first 2 1,000-yard performances were with Alex Smith, so he's not just a product of Patrick Mahomes' elite play. He's just a damn good tight end. He's like Greg Olsen in his prime, if Greg Olsen never got hurt. Olsen had 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons between 2014 and 2017, but then got injured. Shannon Sharp could have had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons in the mid-90s, back when passing was pretty much illegal, but he missed a few games in 95. So what Kelce is doing is pretty incredible. Is that enough Kelce praise to make up for my gaffe, Chiefs fans? No? Fine. A Chief on the rise is Willie Gay Jr. Willie Gay Jr. famously made his NFL debut on my Best Named Players draft video this offseason. This clearly translates to homosexual penis in my father's name, which is also my favorite song to sing at church. Homosexual penis in my father's name, in my father's name. Like I said, Willie is rising and helping to stiffen an underrated and undersized Chiefs D. This Willie has an overall grade of 69.5, which means, unlike Phillip Rivers, he can still perform on his back. Gay is the highest rated Chiefs linebacker in his limited snaps, but I expect to see Steve Spagnuolo expose the world to his Gay Willie inch by inch as he increases his playing time. And that's Willie Gay unzipped. Kyle Allen is officially done for the season. I don't know why I waited 48 hours to announce that. I knew the moment his ankle dressed up as Dak Prescott for Halloween, he'd need some real time to heal. This means we will get an extended look at the greatest comeback story in NFL history with QB Alex Smith, which gives me hope that the football team can beat both the Cowboys and the Eagles on their remaining schedule and lose the rest of their games to ensure that the NFC East produces the team with the all-time worst regular season record to make the playoffs. And the best part is Washington could be the team that emerges as the NFC East playoff team. Now, Jabril Peppers did apologize to Kyle Allen after his leg whip injured the QB. Peppers stated that his hit on Allen was unintentional. I think maybe I partially believe that. Obviously, the play happened really fast. Jabril Peppers was coming off a block, but when you slow it down, it definitely looks like he purposely kicked out his leg. And we'll just have to live with never knowing the truth about that situation. Speaking of, Ben Roethlisberger will not practice all week after coming in close contact with someone who has the Rona. If he tests negative for the remainder of the 5-day window, he can be cleared to play Sunday on Saturday. This could possibly be a blessing in disguise for the Steelers, as Ben banged up his knees against the Cowboys, and his old aging body could really use the rest this week. Ben is only 38, but he looks and acts about 10 years older than Tom Brady at 43. Brady, of course, has famously treated his body like a temple. The only temple Ben's body has been compared to is the Temple of Doom, a dark stain on a great franchise. From stain to stain, we've got the Jets and the Pats on Monday night. Two teams falling. But I'm gonna start with something positive here. Sergio Castillo was kicking for the Jets as Sam Ficken was out with the groin injury. Why is that significant? Because Castillo is a kicker from the XFL, a seltzer-chugging kicker who earned our respect the old-fashioned way by showing he likes to get drunk nearly a year ago. A dude who chugs thine seltzer shall not miss in the bright lights. Castillo was perfect on the night. Now, you may be familiar with the dance that has overtaken the NFL.
He calls that dance the gritty.
You got the gritty dance going on.
This is how you want the gritty done.
Move created by a friend in New Orleans.
That's where it all started from. Went viral on Snapchat. And the next day I went to school, everybody just started doing a dance. That's way before it was called the gritty. It was just a regular dance.
Whoa, no, not the gritty. I'm talking about the stanky wing. Yes, this weird Joe Flacco Raven Wings graphic aired on Monday Night Football to remind us all about that one time Joe Flacco was good in the postseason. And some of your names for Flacco's Raven dance on Twitter were pretty decent. I mentioned the stanky wing, there's the fleece, nevermore, the bird person, and maybe most creatively, shit. That dance is shit, and that animation keeps clipping through other things, so it's shit and it's stupid. A Ravens fan. Well said, Chris. Now, Joe Flacco did pass Joe Montana on the all-time passing yards list, and he did it on this 50-yard tug to Brashad Perryman. Say what you want about Joe Flacco, but that's how you pass someone for a record. A 50-yard TD pass. Nothing is more disappointing than seeing a record obtained on a shitty play. Like when we had to watch Peyton Manning set the all-time passing yardage record in the game he got benched against the Chiefs on like a 3-yard swing pass. Now, the interesting thing about Flacco connecting to Perryman is that it's something he could not do when the two were together in Baltimore. Perryman was the leading receiver for the Jets with 2 touchdowns and 101 receiving yards. That is more yards and more touchdowns than Perryman had in all of 2017 with Joe Flacco. Perryman started 3 games that season and played in 11 and was written off as a bust and released. Flacco finished Monday night with 3 touchdowns and 1 costly late pick. Here's a stat, though, that will make Jets fans sick. I mean, they're already sick, so, hospital level sick. Flacco's 3 touchdown passes tie Sam Darnold's season total. Joe matched it in 1 game. Joe has 4 on the season. And yes, he had a great night against a very bad Patriots defense. Flacco always plays good against the Patriots, but this game is an outlier. Darnold or Flacco, you can still lose out, New York, so don't worry. Flacco played like shit against the Cardinals and the Dolphins earlier this year, so don't think this is his resurrection. And I have no idea why you would even come that close to tanking your tank, New York. Yes, Trevor Lawrence may go back to college if you have the number 1 pick. But with the number 1 pick, you can control the draft and maybe bank a number 1 pick for 2022 and maybe beyond, and almost guarantee you become the state prison that ruins Trevor Lawrence's future either in this draft or in the next one. Yes, that will be harder to do without Bill O'Brien as a GM, but copy what the Dolphins did last year, as right now they're a playoff team and they have the 7th overall pick from Houston in the upcoming draft. My point is you can suck hard enough now and still get Trevor Lawrence either this year or next year. Now, Patriots fans, you nearly had your worst week of football since Nick Foles broke your spirit with a Philly special and a 12-inch cheesesteak between his legs. Tom Brady thoroughly embarrassed himself in prime time. Your coach's favorite politician was not reelected, and you became the first team to actually almost lose to the Jets. Your reign of terror is over. Your team this season sucks, and the Bills and Dolphins might be very good for the next 10 years. 10 years. However, I think New England will only be down for 1, maybe 2 seasons. Here's why I believe the end of the Patriots Dynasty may just be the beginning of another one. First, Cam Newton is still a legitimate option to be your quarterback moving forward. He played well when it mattered on Monday night and admittedly stated it's taken him a while to learn the offense in New England. Sure, he hasn't thrown a touchdown pass since September, but he's rushed for 3 in the last 2 games and completed 77% of his passes against the Jets. He also got a 169-yard performance out of Jacoby Myers. The best Brady did was 74 yards with Myers, so credit Cam for trying to work with the kitchen scraps Brady fucking abandoned you because of. There are a handful of teams this season that have legitimate excuses for underperforming. The 49ers, the Broncos, and yes, the Patriots. Denver and San Fran have been decimated by injuries, and New England lost their Hall of Fame QB and then had key players like Patrick Chung, Dante Hightower, Marcus Cannon, Brandon Bolden, and Danny Vitale to a lesser extent, but opt out, plus Matt Lacoste, who may have been their number 1 tight end this year, and Marquise Lee, who could have been a key depth piece in the receiving game. None of them are on the field. So when Bill Belichick said this season is a joke, I get what he's saying. Julian Edelman is also washed, and not whitewashed the way Brady likes his receivers. Washed. He's maybe a number 3 receiver now, plus he's on IR, as is Sony Michel. So fans of not the Patriots, enjoy watching them suck for the rest of 2020. They'll be lucky to win 3 more games this season when they play the Texans or Chargers and Jets. Cam gets an extended audition, and in that time he can prove he's the guy. But if he sucks, that also benefits New England, as they are in a great position to do whatever they want this offseason. They have the 4th most cap space heading into 2021. That's a huge advantage during a season where we might see the cap drop for the first time ever. If Cam is great, they can pay him. If he's terrible, they should end up with the top draft pick, where 4 to 5 good quarterbacks could be waiting. I know Patriots fans want Justin Fields, but your team should have lost to the Jets to make that happen. Assume Lawrence and Fields are out of reach. Belichick will still have guys like rising stock Zach Wilson, Kyle Trask, and Trey Lance to possibly choose from. Pair that with money and a bunch of guys coming out of the COVID opt-out list, and New England could be a real football team again as soon as 2021.
When I seen this gritty dance, I said, oh, this is definitely me. Believe me, my big behind is gonna be trying to do it.
Because it's authentic and it's original.
Boom. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. And if you haven't already, please check out my Broncos fan reaction video. It's on the screen right now. It was a pretty solid episode, and I would love it if you watched.